Welcome to Restorative Yoga. My name is Laurie, and tonight's session is going to be dedicated to digestion. So it's good to have maybe a couple of blocks, a cushion, and a blanket handy. We're going to start on our right side, just laying down on the right side and relaxing the arm under the head. And it's important to understand in restorative yoga that a big part of the process of restorative yoga is to help us come into the bias of the parasympathetic nervous system. So as we hold the poses, one way to accelerate that process is to breathe in through the nose, not through the mouth. So start our practice with this experience of breathing in through the nose. And it's okay to breathe out through the mouth or nose. Just the inhale, in through the nose. And as the body relaxes more and more over time, the length of the exhale will become longer. And this is ideal for helping us move more and more into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is essential for digestion. Now, if you can, extend the arm, keep the head resting against the arm. If that's too uncomfortable, you can use a block for the back of the head or a cushion and reach the arm up and then the other arm up and over. I find using the block to support the head feels more comfortable on the neck. So the block is behind the arm, just catching the back part of the skull. And then come back to that vigilance of breathing in through the nose. And letting the exhale be as gentle and long as you can allow it. Almost like you're releasing the exhale, letting it go like you would with a sigh. Letting go of the tension. And we'll be here for 5 more breaths. At any time this is too much for the arms, you can always bring them back under the head. And then exhale, curling up one more time. And we'll go through the transition of moving from a lying position to a standing position. So we want to try and keep this sense of ease and calm in the body. So the way we transition from one shape to the other can make a big difference to sustaining that calm. Take the top hand and bring it down in front of the chest and push it into the ground so you feel the strength of that top arm And just for a moment, roll the nose towards the floor. And then roll back. So you just feel that small movement. Roll the nose towards the floor and come back. And then the second movement that we add is extending the top leg by straightening it away from the spine. So we're not bringing it in front of the body. We're bringing it in alignment with the spine, as if we're kicking that leg back as far as we can until you almost feel a gap in the hip. And then bend it back, curl up. So keeping the bottom leg curled the whole time. Try that again. Extend that leg out and then curl up. Now you can either watch me or do it together. We're going to bring all those three elements together. The hand pushing into the floor, the head rolling forward, extending the leg out now. Push into that hand, slowly come up. And as you come up, bring the other arm, other hand under the shoulder into a lumbar twist. This is excellent for digestion, what we're doing right now. Slow the breath down. And we'll come back to the twist in a moment. Inhale, come up. Grab a bolster or cushions to cross over the mat beside you. I can already feel the digestive process has begun. And we're going to construct a little pillow rest here as well. So I'm going to take a blanket. I'm going to put it on top of my block. So I have a blanket on top of a block. I have a little 8 to 12 inch space between the block and the cushion. And then I sidle up beside the cushion so the side of my ribs rests against the cushion. Now you can start either side. I'm going to start on the right side. And then I come down and drop my shoulder between the cushion for my head and the bolster for my ribs. So there's no pressure on the shoulder, palm is face up. That right arm is relaxed, the arm on the ground. The top arm, my left arm, is resting along the ridge of my body. Adjust the legs so they feel comfortable. So we want the legs to feel comfortable. I've staggered my knees. You might like to stack or stagger your knees or straighten the legs, doesn't matter. Once the body is settled, come back to the breath. Inhaling through the nose. And then a sustained longer exhale. Sometimes exhaling through pursed lips can extend the exhale naturally. Now you might feel gurgling of the belly. Take your left hand and gently drop it behind your low back. And draw the top shoulder back a little bit so you feel a slight stretch sensation at the top of the chest and the shoulder from the weight of the arm dangling behind you. And as you breathe, feel the compression of the rib cage against the bolster. Feel the belly moving with the breath. So there's a gentle churning, a gentle massaging in the belly area as you breathe. And it's good to begin our work on the right side of the body and end with the left side where the colon descends. So for now, using the right side of the body. Breathing in through the nose. On the next inhale, invite the top arm to float up and over the head, resting the bicep against the skull, forearm dangling. And if any of the arm positions feel uncomfortable, you can always adjust. Start to deepen the breath once again, inhaling through the nose. Lengthening the exhale. Creating plenty of space for the belly here, for the digestion to move unimpeded. And lateral flexion being a wonderful way to support the health of the spine as well. On the next inhale, float that arm back. And even though we're working on digestion, what we're about to do is a wonderful release for the shoulder joint. Lengthen the top arm away from the head, reach down towards your feet and spread the fingers. And then keeping that arm parallel to the ground, reach it in front of the chest and reach out a little further so you feel the shoulder blade release from the spine. And then slowly rotate it up over the head, palm down. Create a nice reach here. Feel sensation in the shoulder. And then gently roll towards the back and bring your hand behind you. Palm face upwards. So you feel that big stretch in the front of the shoulder and the chest. You feel a lumbar twist. And then complete the circle. Bring the hand back to the thigh. Roll onto your side once again. And then recalling the work we did to conserve the ease and calm we've cultivated in the body. In the transition, roll your nose towards the ground, push your hand into the bolster, straighten that leg and simply push up slowly and bring both hands underneath you and hold the twist. And then we're going to prepare for a sustained twist. So you can move the blanket and the blocks, but you'll need to rotate the long cushion so that it is parallel to the long edges of the mat. Keep your thigh adjacent to it. Knees can be bent or straight, and turn to face the bolster. Bring your hands either side, sit up tall, and walk the hands out until the thoracic cavity on the right side rests on the bolster. The side of the head rests on the bolster. And the belly is trapped between the thigh and the bolster, and most of the belly is free and exposed. Adjust the legs to make sure the legs feel comfortable and non-distracting. Adjust the angle of the bolster so you feel its support. And once you feel the bolster's support underneath you, you can widen the elbows and take pressure off the elbows and shoulders. So the real work now begins with the breath, gently massaging the ribs and the chest into your bolster. Stimulating a little peristaltic action here. Simply through the dynamics of the twist and the breath. Slow the breath down if you can. And if for any reason the body releases any gases here, it probably means you're doing it very, very effectively. Just the positioning of the body, releasing pressure from the stomach and anus area, all helping with the digestion. Come back to the breath. Staying with that inhale through the nose, resisting the temptation to breathe through the mouth. Notice your breathing. Keep that vigilance on the inhale through the nose. Start to prepare for the transition to a seated position, remembering to keep the transition easeful and slow. Inhale the hands back under the shoulders, and slowly press up into a supported twist, leaning into the hands. And we're going to do that entire sequence now on the descending colon side. So the first one is to come down onto the side of the body into fetal pose. You might want a block handy. And you're going to be resting the head on the arm for now, or the block. Starting to feel a different sensation on this side, knowing that we're not symmetrical in the internal organs of the body. And using fetal pose as a nice launch back into the slow nasal breath, encouraging the parasympathetic nervous system to stay as the primary system here. And then consider making space for the belly on this side by extending the bottom arm up over the head, positioning the block to support the head, and then the top arm reaching up, creating a slight hollow in the belly. Just from the hands extending, the belly is hollowed. The breath continues, inhaling through the nose, slowing the exhale down. Another way to accentuate the parasympathetic response is to let the eyes become still, as if the eyes have turned into stones. Let the eyes stop moving behind the eyelids. And while this technique takes a while to learn, it can have a powerful impact on the sense of agitation with thinking, with images of the mind. The eyes need to move for images and thoughts to cross the mind's eye. So when we stop the eyes moving, we change this flow of thought and images. we interrupt the cycle. And we can also do that by lifting the corners of the mouth. A little Mona Lisa smile will have a very similar effect. These small, tiny movements or lack of movements have a big impact. And then slowly release the hands. You can move the block out of the way and replace the arm under the head. Curl up a little tighter into fetal pose. And recalling the transitional technique, the top hand comes onto the floor to support and push. The head rolls forward. And the leg extends out so that the hips become a pivot point. And when all three move together, you can press up and come into that supported twist. Once again, feeling the digestive processes. And then prepare for lateral flexion of the spine on this side, taking the cushion across the mat, setting up your pillow. My pillow is a block and a blanket. So the head will be supported, the ribs will be supported, and there's this space between the blanket or the pillow for the head and the cushion for the ribs. And then to drape the rib cage over and making sure the head is supported. So you can see my head is supported quite high. Some people like to drape the head down lower, which creates more flexion in the spine. So you can adjust the head height. Stagger the legs in such a way that they feel comfortable. Top hand rests along the ridge of the body. Return the attention to the breath. Invite the top arm to drape behind the back so that pulls at the top shoulder and chest. Of course, if that's uncomfortable, you can bring it back to rest on top of the body. I find myself yawning here, which is showing me that I'm deepening the relaxation response. Another position for that top arm is to drape it over the head, creating space in the ribs. And once again, if you have shoulder issues here, you can adjust. Notice the breath coming back to that nasal inhale, extended long exhale. Letting the breath support the digestion here. And keeping in mind, restorative yoga is a great yoga to do in the evening or towards the end of the day. It's a great preparation for sleep. And then on the next inhale, float that arm back along the ridge of the body. And once again, while we're here, we can use this as an opportunity to move the shoulder gently by reaching the hand towards the feet, extending the hands out wide, and then rotating the hand forward in front, parallel from the shoulder to the wrist, to the floor, and then reaching further forward, letting the shoulder blade come further away from the spine. Rotate above the head. And then rotate behind you, feeling the twist in the lumbar spine, and then come back, lumbar thoracic spine, and then come back resting with that full completion. Preparing for the smooth transition, bring the top hand to the bolster, roll the nose towards the floor, extend the top leg out and gently push up. Hold both hands underneath you and hold the twist with the head elevated. And we're going to rearrange the bolster once again. We won't need the head pillow, but we will need to rotate the bolster 90 degrees so that the thin edge is against the thigh the thighs bent, and rotate the hands either side of the bolster. Adjust the angle of the bolster and walk, drape the ribs out over the bolster, resting the head, ribs, feeling the new sensations in this supported twist. Another nice yawn there, coming to the surface, releasing tension. You can invite the elbows and shoulders to relax a little more. And we'll start to feel the churning of the breath against the bolster, so ribs and belly gently moving with each breath, stimulating to some degree the peristaltic action of that large intestine. Definitely hearing some gurgling going on in my system right now. Keep encouraging the relaxation response by slowing the breath down and breathing in through the nose. Even if one nostril feels a little blocked, continue this process of breathing in through the nose. Sometimes that block will disappear. Now remember, we can enhance the relaxation response using stone eyes, letting the eyes become still. Or lifting the corners of the mouth, Mona Lisa smile. And then considering the transition once again to be gentle. Inhale the hands under the shoulders and slowly Press up and hold in that supported twist. And then bring the bolster under the thighs. We're going to be on the back for the remainder of the class. You might use a blanket to cushion the head. The bolster comes under the thighs. If you are in a room with lights, you might want to cover your eyes with a cloth or a t-shirt. And then rest your hands against the belly. Let the body settle. And feel each breath move your fingers gently. In this relaxed state, the fingers should move up when you breathe in and sink down when you exhale. So you want to be breathing very gently. You want the stomach to be very, very soft. Now position the hands so that the middle fingers, the long fingers of the hand, meet right on the navel. On the next inhale, slide the middle fingers 1 inch above the navel and let them rest 1 inch above the navel. Just feel them resting, gently touching the belly 1 inch above the navel. And we're going to synchronize a little acupressure here, in synchrony with the breath. So it's important whenever you breathe in to release the pressure. And as you exhale, as the belly sinks, gently go with the flow and push the tips of the 2 middle fingers down into that point 1 inch above the navel. As the inhale comes, relax the fingers. So each exhale, gently press down. Each inhale, relax. You're creating a little massage technique here around the navel. Imagine that circle is completely around the navel. The fingertips are on one point. Let's call that point 12 o'clock. The top of the clock of the dial. And we'll break the circle up into 12 points. On the next inhale, slide the 2 fingers towards the left to the 1 o'clock position. Press down on the exhale. Relax on the inhale. Now, how hard you press down is up to you. Some people press down firmly, and some with more lightness. Use your sensibility here to massage in a way that's non-invasive, but effective. On the next inhale, move the fingers to the 2 o'clock position. A little further to the left. Still 1 inch from the navel. Still breathing through the nose. And as you exhale, press down. Inhale, release. On the next inhale, move the fingers 1 inch to the left of the navel, 3 o'clock. Release on the inhale. Press on the exhale. And different areas will render different sensations. But sometimes you might even feel a pulse from those arteries deep down. On the next inhale, move to the 4 o'clock position. We're still on the left side of the navel. Inhale, release. Exhale, press. Breathing in through the nose. On the next inhale, move to the 5 o'clock position. Exhale, press. Inhale, release. On the next inhale, move 1 inch below the navel. 6 o'clock. Inhale, move 1 inch more to the right, starting to come out to that right side of the navel, still 1 inch away. Exhaling, press. Inhaling, release. Inhale, 8 o'clock. Inhale, 1 inch to the right of the navel, 9 o'clock. Relax on the inhale. press on the exhale. Inhale, 10 o'clock, almost done. And then inhale, 11 o'clock, last spot. Take 3 breaths here. On that 3rd breath, bring the hands gently on the belly. And then lift the hands 1/8 of an inch away from the belly. So there's no touching the belly, but the hands are emanating warmth and energy towards the belly. And then exhale, let the hands flop out beside you, palms face up. And then deciding whether you'd like to extend supported Shavasana, knowing you can remain here, or beginning to transition from our practice. You can start by moving the head left and right. And then gently bend the knees, standing the feet on top of the pillow or bolster. And just once again, bring the hands to the belly for a moment. We've done a lot of work around the belly area today. And then bring one hand under the back of your head and roll onto your side into fetal pose. And bring the top hand onto the belly once again. Take the hand to the floor next to the chest, using the gentle transition, extending leg, rolling nose forward. Press up and hold the twist. Notice any final movements of the digestive tract. And then slowly come to a seated position. Maybe sitting on the bolster or block or blanket. And once again, just rest the hands on the belly. And take a moment to consider the work constant efforts of the belly to digest food and emotions, to be in many ways our second brain, where we get feelings for things in our belly, understandings, intuitions. And bring the hands together at the heart in gratitude. Let the head bow. Happy digestion. Namaste. I'll just turn the video off. We can chat.